because Shenna has given a new definition to a grassroots campaign. She's walked across the state of Maine, talking about economic justice, talking about civil rights, and talking about a future of Maine that everybody has a part and everybody has a role. So it's my great pleasure to have Shenna be here in the city of Portland and to have her be here tonight at this exciting time when we start plotting a new future for the state. Thank you.
In Washington. And I believe working people need a voice in the Blaine House, and that's why I'm so excited to support my mission here tonight. Paul Page has showed us just how destructive Republicans can be when they are in charge. And they don't seem to care who they hurt. And I'm going to share with you, bring you back in time to when Republicans were in control, when President Bill Clinton was our president. Remember what they did? Washington Republicans are demanding their way or the highway, just like Governor Page. And I remember during that time when they shut down Congress for months, when they shut down the government and voters were ready to move on, I remember thinking, and yet we've had 4 years of it right here in Maine. So it's time to elect Mike Michaud. And it's time to stand up and be counted and to ensure that President Obama does not face in his last 2 years what President Bill Clinton faced with impeachment proceedings and Republicans blocking him at every turn. You know, Republicans are still demanding the same huge tax cuts for big corporations, the same deep cuts to benefits for working families and retirees, and the same special treatment for polluting industries. Mitch McConnell sounds more like Newt Gingrich every day. And of course, we saw last fall that he and John Boehner are more than willing to shut down the government and then tell the rest of us that it's our fault for not giving them all that they want. Republicans in Washington are not going to change on their own. No matter what each senator or representative thinks, Republican leaders are going to continue jumping off the cliff and dragging the rest of the party along for the ride. We cannot keep giving Republicans the benefit of the doubt or hoping that some lone voice of reason will prevail. We've been hoping long enough in Washington. Now it's time to act. Because when it matters, she stands with Mitch McConnell every time, when it really counts, and she will just keep doing it. We cannot afford a senator who talks about bipartisanship and then votes for big corporations instead of working people. We cannot afford a senator who talks about working families and then votes against raising the minimum wage and votes against equal pay for equal work. We cannot afford a senator who talks about fiscal responsibility and then votes for the Paul Ryan budget. We cannot afford a senator who voted against the Affordable Care Act and who has co-sponsored Ted Cruz's bill to repeal the Affordable Care Act, a bill that most Republican senators won't even touch. And we cannot afford a senator who, when it anymore. We need action.